Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the #1 reason why you might be experiencing seal failure when you're canning. I've been teaching canning for a very long time. And it's so funny because I told you I'm going to show you the #1 reason. That's shifted and changed a bit. If you haven't watched my video about these guys, and I know it's going to be reversed, I think, because it's on selfie mode, but yeah, you can practice reading backwards. I have a whole video on why I think these canning lids suck. So we're going to kind of take this into perspective. You do also want to check on the quality of the canning lids that you are using. I'm convinced, because like I said, I have been water bath and pressure canning now for over a decade, almost 15 years. And I did notice a really high level of seal failure, never used to. And then I'm pretty sure these guys have cheaped out. And I'm going to show you, before we get to what used to be the #1 reason why you're going to experience seal failure, I'm going to show you some new canning lids that I'm trying out, and let's take a look at the difference. I can't completely back them yet because I just used them for the first time today. I pressure canned up a batch of chicken stock. Now we're heading into canning season. So these guys are going to get a workout, these new lids that I've tried. So in about a month or so, I'll post another video with my follow-up, my review, what I think. Was I experiencing the same seal failures? You know, all that kind of jazz. But for now, I'll turn the camera around and show you the new canning lids. And then we'll talk about, other than crappy canning lids, the #1 reason why you might experience seal failure. So after doing a lot of research and talking to my friends who do a lot more canning than I do, so these are the Bernardin lids. If you're in the United States, Ball and Bernardin are essentially the same company. And I've noticed, one thing I've noticed too, and I'm not going to repeat a lot of what's in that other video I linked, but suddenly everything says seals up to 18 months and it never used to. But these are like regular Bernardin canning rings. I have noticed that the rubber is not as good. So what I invested in were these guys. A company called 4 Jars. They came highly recommended. I like that they're rust proof. My well water is going to test that, so let's find out. And they're BPA free, which I like. And already I'm happier. Like the rubber on it is a lot thicker. So I'm hopeful. So these are the ones that I am testing out right now. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm going to test out these new canning lids. Like we're going to get a workout. We're going to do a whole bushel of tomatoes. We'll do diced tomatoes and probably some salsa. Then we're going to be getting a large quantity of peaches to do our peach salsa and peaches in syrup. So they're going to get a workout. I will report back. But other than poor quality canning lids or reusing your canning lids, which with these new guys, you can't do that. You know, 10 years ago, I never did. I was always kind of a stickler for using new canning lids, but I knew people who were like, oh, I could reuse them a bunch of times and it was fine, but they've really degraded the quality of that rubber seal, so that's not possible. But there is a reason why you might be experiencing seal failure. And it's funny, I almost missed it this morning when I was pressure canning. I was working a bit too fast. I wasn't being as diligent, although I did catch it right before I was about to put it in the canner. I'm going to turn the camera on. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the jar I ended up not using. And other than crappy canning lids, the #1 reason for seal failure is a problem with something that comes between the rim of your jar and the lid. Now this can be a food particle, which is the reason why every single canning recipe is going to tell you wipe your lid. Or your rim of your jar. There's a reason for this. But you also have to watch for that. You see that little crack in the jar? That's enough. That's enough that the rubber seal on this lid may not have sealed on that jar. That's all it can take. So it can be you know, a tiny little piece of, I don't know, dill or something that got in between the rim and the lid, or a crack or chip out of your jar. And it's really easy to miss that. And so I always make sure, obviously, you have clean hands when you're working and canning, and you want to run not just a cloth, because that's why I missed it the first time. I wiped the rim of the lid with a cloth like I always do, but I didn't run my finger over it. And then when I looked closely, I did, and I was like, ah, there is a crack in that rim. And that would have been enough for there to be seal failure. Now, the whole point of me pressure canning broth today was to get the stuff out of my freezer and up shelf stable, because I need freezer space. And so a jar seal failure would not have helped me. I'm excited. Actually, I'm going to take a look now. I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to take out my chicken stock and let's see how those lids sealed. All right, it is the next day, and I'm going to check on those canning lids. So remember, this is my first time using these ones, and we just wanted to see what kind of seal we got. Now, I only did 4 jars in the pressure canner, but with those Bernardin lids, it would not have been unheard of for me to have seal failure. So let's turn the camera around and check it out. All right, so here are my jars of broth. I've already pre-loosened this lid just because I only have one hand to work with. And I mean, I always, about an hour after jars come out of the canner, I'm always testing, because I don't want to lose the food. If it sits for 24 hours, I'm not going to use it, right? So if I catch it within the first hour, normally within the first hour. So it's sealed really well. But look at this. Like, I can actually pick it up by the canning lid. It is so well sealed. So I'm really, really happy with that. If that had been a Bernardin lid, I would not have tried that. So I'm impressed so far. Of course, I will report back. I just got in contact with a farm, so we've got our peaches coming fairly soon. So we'll be doing large amounts of canning, and that way I'll have a better idea how these lids perform. And then of course I can touch base with everybody in 6 months to a year or two to see, did I have any seals pop in the pantry? I'm pointing like you can see my pantry. It's in the, it's in the garage. So don't forget, #1 reason for seal failure is usually a crack, a chip, like I had in that jar, or a piece of food, even something microscopic, something really small that you just didn't catch, stuck between the rim and the lid is enough to cause seal failure. So that is the #1 most common reason. Now, if you have any tips or tricks for the community, I would love to hear about it. So please leave that in the comments below. And until next time, this is Corinne from Spirea Herbs, wishing you health, wellness, and happy preserving season.